What is up, guys? My name is jasonankin and this is my YouTube channel, and this is the second video in my MBTI video series covering the 4 cognitive functions that make up the INTJ personality type. Today's video is going to be on extroverted thinking, the second function in the INTJ personality type. So yes, the second function of the INTJ personality type is extroverted thinking. So extroverted thinking is known as a rational judgment function as opposed to an irrational perceiving function. TE or extroverted thinking is a rational judgment function. It is in our second slot position. This means that it basically supports our hero function. The way that I like to look at the parent position is almost like if you look at it in kind of like, say for example, if the hero function is like a king of a nation or whatever, so the hero function is the king of a nation. The parent function is almost like the general of the army. So he basically takes the orders from the king and basically distributes it down to everybody else. So the general is kind of like the intermediary between the king and the people, or the king and the military. And that's how I kind of see the parent function. It's in this kind of general position. It has a lot of authority, it has a lot of strength, and it basically regulates and facilitates the objectives of the hero function. So a way that I would describe extroverted thinking is it is very objective. And what I mean by that is it basically takes things at face value, meaning it's because it's an extroverted function, it is looking outside of itself. It's not an introverted thinking function where I'm thinking about things in my own terms. It's an extroverted thinking function, so it's looking out there. What does everybody think? What does everybody say? What does everybody do? What are the facts? What are the statistics? What's the evidence to prove whatever it is that you're learning? So it's very objective, always absorbing external facts and information, and that's one way that I would describe it. Like, it's a very objective function, orientated outside, very facts focused. Yeah. And yes, because it is a thinking function, it is not a feeling function. And so it's more interested in sort of the intellectual side of things rather than the social and emotional side of things. And obviously there are advantages and disadvantages to that. Thinking means that we are going to be naturally good at making judgments, decision making, problem solving, collecting data, setting targets, creating plans, all of these type of things, as opposed to feeling. And you can't have both. You can't have the best of both. Either you're going to be a feeler or a thinker. And yes, so the INTJ type is a dominant thinking type. Yes, extroverted thinking can be said to be very reductionistic. Another way of looking at it is basically like being able to analyze and synthesize information. If you think about it in terms of like, let's say you're a miner and you are looking for gold, right? And you have this little sieve and you go down to a river and you scoop all of the kind of dirt and silt into the sieve, and then you sieve your way through it. And basically what you're trying to do is you're trying to filter out all of the dirt, and what you're left with is these little nuggets of gold. And that's how extroverted thinking kind of works. It's this ability to analyze and synthesize information, to go through this process of basically elimination, constantly reducing things down, get rid of the chaff and keep the wheat until you're able to just find out the true facts about something, or to understand, important, relevant piece of information. So it can be perceived as being kind of reductionistic, and yeah. It is also the function that means that INTJs are always striving for effectiveness and efficiency. So we're always really interested in, when we do anything, it has to be done in a way that it actually works. So there's no point in actually doing something unless what we're going to use works. But on top of that, not only do we want the thing to work, but we want it to work in the most efficient way possible, meaning with the least amount of effort to produce the largest effect. Because what's the point in putting extra effort into something when you can put less effort into something and get the same effect? So it's always striving to make things more efficient, improve things, optimize things, scrub away nonsense and scrub away inefficiencies, so that we can find the meticulous, detailed piece of information that always work. Yes, and on top of that, TE, extroverted thinking, is also very structured. Another way you could look at, there is another personality test called the Big Five personality test. And one of the Big Five personality traits is something called conscientiousness. And another way, conscientiousness is basically an individual's ability to plan and organize and strategize and to sort of be organized. And extroverted thinking is very similar to that function. In fact, out of those 5 traits in the Big Five personality test, conscientiousness is my highest out of all of the 5. It's the one I score the highest in overall. So TE, extroverted thinking, naturally makes us structured. It's not like routined. Routine is more like doing the same thing every single day, like kind of like, I always describe routine as like almost like an orbit, when you're kind of just in an orbit revolving around a planet. That's kind of a routine. That's not the same as structure. Structure, the content of what you're doing can change every day, but usually the structure is the same, so you get up at the same time every day, but what you do can vary. But the INTJ type prefers that structure because it's more efficient and more effective and enables us to step by step get towards our goals in the most efficient way possible. Additionally, extroverted thinking naturally makes the INTJ type strategical. They're always looking. Think about it in terms of like chess. Chess is a very, very good game for the INTJ or ENTJ personality types because it's a future orientated game. You're always trying to move forward to basically defeat your opponent's king. So your objective is already predetermined, so you know the end goal. So it's a future orientated game. And then each of the pieces has specific rules and specific functions. Extroverted thinking likes those rules and likes the capacity to strategically and tactically maneuver towards the end goal. And obviously that occurs in response to the environment. So as the environment presents possibilities, either it gives us what we want or it prevents us from getting what we want, we use our extroverted thinking to basically strategically maneuver through circumstances to kind of meander our way towards our goal. And it gives us that capacity to see the gaps and come up with a strategy that we can use to exploit that opportunity. And that takes us one step closer to our goal. And we do this systematically until we get to our end objective. Another way you could think of extroverted thinking is there is a theory within science called systems theory, and extroverted thinking basically sees everything as a system. Everything is a system. The whole universe is a system. We have galaxies or systems, the solar system. The planet is basically a giant ecosystem, and then we have all of these social systems within society, cultures, with all of these institutions, governments and stuff like this. Everything can be understood in terms of systems analysis or systems theory. And extroverted thinking gives us that capacity to see things as this giant, basically a giant chessboard. We would look at life as if it is a giant chessboard or like a giant puzzle to be solved. So that's another way that extroverted thinking works. It makes us perceive everything in a very systematic and puzzle-like or chess-like way. And my final explanation of extroverted thinking, this one may be a little bit different, is extroverted thinkers tend to be characteristically masculine. And what I mean by that is people who have high TE, even if they're males or females, tend to exhibit what I would qualify as masculine personality traits. They tend to think in terms of logic. They tend to think in terms of strategies, or in an intellectual kind of way, or like a very strategical kind of way. It can also make us come across as very stoic, and stoic is kind of like we don't really emote that well. We don't really give off our emotions, so we can be perceived by others as kind of very stoic or not that emotional. There's a well-known kind of meme that there's the INTJ death stare, where we just have this kind of blank look of just, you know, disappointment on our face, you know, every time someone says something dumb or something. So it usually can also characteristically make us be perceived as somewhat masculine and somewhat stoic, even in males or females. What you will see is with INTJ females, at least what I observe, is they can come across as a bit tomboyish. So that is it, guys. That was my second video on the 4 functions of the INTJ personality type. Today's video is extroverted thinking. I have 2 more videos, so stay tuned for those when they come out. Thank you for watching, guys. I really appreciate it. Remember to do all that good stuff. Like, comment, and watch the video right to the end. Become a subscriber if you like my videos. Remember to check out my playlists. That's where I put all my videos. I categorize everything, so you can go in, you can look at any of the videos that I put up, and you can specifically look at the certain type of categories that you like and watch those videos. And if you like what you see, become a much appreciated subscriber. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.